Make sure you subscribe to the channel before we start. It helps more than you know. She tossed the divorce papers onto the table like they were scraps. Like our entire marriage weighed less than the breath she used to demand I accept her friend. That moment is burned into me. Still hits like stepping on broken glass. The papers didn't fall loudly, but the sound felt final. I remember staring at them, then at her, arms crossed, chin lifted like she was trying to look sure of herself. But she wasn't. Her eyes flickered just for a heartbeat, with something close to guilt or fear. Hard to tell anymore. I'm done explaining myself, she said. You need to accept that Aaron is part of my life. If you can't do that, maybe this is the only path forward. As if she hadn't already started walking that path without me. I didn't touch the papers. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't beg. God knows I'd already spent months clinging to a marriage that was slipping through my fingers. I just sat there and let the silence drown her words until the air felt thick between us. Maya, I finally said. What aren't you telling me? Her jaw tightened. Don't start. But I already had, long before she realized it. The signs didn't hit all at once. They crept in slowly, the way shadows stretch across the room at dusk. Easy to overlook. Until suddenly everything's dark. The late-night messages she said were work. The weekend she needed time to herself. A new lock screen. A perfume I'd never smelled before. And then of course Aaron, the just a friend. When I met him the first time he was polite. Too polite. His voice too gentle, his eyes too careful. He didn't look at me like he was meeting someone's husband. He looked at me like I was a barrier he just had to be patient enough to move around. My gut knew. But people in love rarely listen to their guts. We listen to hope, because hope lies soft and sweet. The truth? It tastes bitter, and the bitterness lingers. The night before she threw the papers at me, I found the thing that shattered everything. I'd opened her laptop to print a file for her. She'd left it signed in. The chat thread wasn't even labeled with a name. Just an initial. But the messages. Miss you already. Wish you were here instead of him. I hate lying to his face. Soon. Promise. My hands went numb. My breathing went sideways. The whole room felt like it tilted. I didn't snap the laptop shut. Didn't curse. I read every single message, letting each one bury another splinter into me. When I finally closed the lid, I knew something she didn't. She thought she was preparing to leave me. She didn't know I had finally stopped trying to hold her. So when she slammed the papers down the next morning, I felt ready, for the first time in months. What exactly do you want me to say? I asked. I want you to be reasonable, she shot back. I want you to stop making everything such a fight. I almost laughed. The truth? Loving her was the easiest thing I ever did. Watching her drift away, smiling while lying, convincing herself I was the obstacle. That was the part that tore me apart quietly. So he's really that important to you? I asked. She paused, tiny but noticeable. He's my friend, she said way too fast, too defensive. I sat back and studied her. The woman I made a home with, the woman whose laughter used to light up entire rooms. Just tell me the truth, I said. Just once. She shifted, her fingers twitching. I don't know what you want me to admit. You do, I said gently. You really do. For the first time she looked away. The rest of that week blurred together. She came home later and later. I acted like I didn't see it. We both tiptoed around the crack in our marriage like ignoring it might magically fix it. But I noticed everything now, the way she flinched when her phone buzzed, how she angled the screen away from me, the relief on her face when I didn't ask anything. And weirdly, I felt lighter. Because when denial dies, some of the pain dies with it. Still, I needed to hear the truth from her mouth, something our marriage barely got. That moment finally came on a quiet Friday night. She was dressed way nicer than she ever was for dinner with friends. Hair curled. Lips painted with a shade she hadn't worn for me in a long time. Moving fast like she hoped she could slip out before I noticed. Maya, I said from the couch. She froze. Who are you meeting? She swallowed. I told you. Sarah from work. Aaron doesn't go by Sarah. The silence that dropped after that felt like something inside me snapped. She stared at me, face draining of color. Shame flickered across her eyes, followed by something sharper. Anger? Fear? Both? How long have you known? She whispered. My voice was steadier than my pulse. Long enough. She sat down slowly, her hands shaking. I never meant for this to happen. No one ever does, I replied. We were just talking. I was lonely. You were always tired, always distracted, always somewhere else. Her excuses washed over me like a song I'd heard too many times to care. You should have talked to me, I said. Not him. I tried, her voice cracked. You didn't see me anymore. I almost argued, but maybe she wasn't wrong. Marriages don't crumble overnight. They break slowly, in the spaces you start filling with routines instead of affection. But cheating? That's a decision. And she made hers. Then she finally asked the question sitting between us like a loaded gun. What are you going to do? I stood up, walked to the table, and picked up the paper she'd thrown at me days earlier. Her eyes widened as I opened a drawer, took out my pen and signed. You made your choice long before today, I said quietly. I'm just accepting it now. A tear slipped down her cheek. She didn't bother wiping it. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know, I said. But sorry doesn't change what's real. She nodded, small, defeated. For a moment she almost looked like the woman I fell in love with. The woman who used to sleep on my chest, who dreamed with me about kids, trips, growing old. The woman who swore she'd never lie to me. Promises. I learned they're fragile things. I set the signed papers in front of her. You wanted a decision, I said. Now you've got mine. She stared at them, then up at me. Her lips parted like she wanted to stop me, or say she loved me. But nothing came out, because sometimes silence is the real ending. And as I walked out of the home we built together, my chest ached so deeply it felt like something was tearing inside. But under that pain there was something else. Not victory. Not relief. Just clarity. The kind that hurts like hell, but finally lets you breathe.